Good afternoon, everyone. We just spent more than 2 hours with 6 of the Epstein victims, some of the bravest women I've ever met. They're very courageous. They shared their stories. Some of the ladies have shared these stories publicly before, but at least 2 of the women had never told their stories before, one for the very first time in the room. And so there were tears in the room. There was outrage. It was both, I would describe it as heartbreaking and infuriating that justice has been delayed so long. Some of the women in the room began to be groomed by Epstein and his accomplices, Ghislaine Maxwell and the others, 30 years ago. There were 4 attorneys in the room. Some of them began civil litigation against Epstein and the Epstein evils and everything associated with it 20 years ago. This has gone on for a long, long time. And they shared their stories. They shared how these brave young women, Epstein and his accomplices, stole their innocence, stole their very lives in some cases, stole their hopes and dreams and aspirations and ruined them in so many ways. But they came forward courageously to share their thoughts and their hopes in the House Oversight Committee and the House itself, that we would do this in a bipartisan fashion and seek those answers, and we will. They are owed that. There may be as many as 1,000 victims. Think of it. Hundreds and hundreds of young women who some of us imagine seated behind these 6 women. One of the members in the committee said that they speak for all of them. And it's been long, long overdue. So the objective here is not just to uncover, investigate the Epstein evils, but also to ensure that this never happens again, and ultimately to find out why justice has been delayed for these ladies for so very long. It is inexcusable, and it will stop now because the Congress is dialed in on this. I'm very grateful for the leadership of Chairman James Comer of the House Oversight Committee, who's with me here, and he's done an extraordinary job. August was a very busy district work period for so many members of Congress who were fanned out across the country in their districts doing town halls and business roundtables and constituent services. But our House Oversight Committee was working all along on their subpoenas. And I'll let him recount for you some of the great work that has already been done, but 34,000 Epstein documents have already been collected. We will not stop there. This is the beginning and not the end, and they are going through very carefully because we have 2 ultimate objectives here. We want to bring justice to every single person who was involved in the Epstein evils or the cover-up thereof, but we also want to be equally certain that we protect the innocent victims. Many of these young women, some of them are now middle-aged women, have never come forward. We do not want their names or identities to be uncovered carelessly or intentionally in any way. And so the House Oversight Committee, in a bipartisan fashion, is combing through these documents to ensure that we redact only the information related to the innocent victims themselves. We cannot be involved in subjecting them to any more harm. With that, I want to yield to our very able and very busy chairman for all the great work he's been doing, Jamie Comer.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll just give a quick update. I think everyone knows who all we've subpoenaed thus far in the initial batch. We subpoenaed 6 former attorneys general, as well as Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. We've expanded that to Alex Acosta. Acosta's coming in, I believe, September the 19th, 16th or 19th. We've got that date down. I know that we'll have a lot of questions for him with respect to an earlier Epstein prosecution that he was involved in when he was U.S. Attorney. We have the documents, the initial batch that had been sent by the White House. As you know, we also subpoenaed Pam Bondi for those documents. The White House is working with us. I want to publicly thank the White House for turning over so many documents thus far. We're in the process of uploading those documents for full transparency so everyone in America can see those documents. It's as quick as we can get them uploaded, and as the Speaker said, there are 34,000 pages. So we're doing everything we can to get those uploaded. We want those to be public as soon as possible. And then we're going to continue to bring in more people. We learned of some additional names today. We're going to do everything we can to give the American public the transparency they seek, as well as to provide accountability in memory of the victims who have already passed away, as well as those that were in the room, and many others who haven't come forward. So we're sincere about this. This was a 2.5-hour discussion. It was as bipartisan as anything I've seen in the 9 years I've been here. Appreciate the Speaker for giving us the authority to seek out everything that I think you all want and the people that I talk to as I travel America want. And we're going to do everything we can to get the answers and to do it as soon as possible. I yield back.
Question or two, Manu? Go ahead.
The President has repeatedly referred to this as the Epstein hoax. You just have talked about these victims. Is it a hoax?
I'm not sure what that comment refers to, but I've spoken to the President myself about this many times, and he is as insistent as we are. He is the most transparent president in memory, probably in the history of the country. As you know, he stops. If he were here now, he would stand here and take your questions endlessly. That's his mindset, and he wants the American people to have information so they can draw their own conclusions. I've talked with him about this very subject myself, so I can tell you that is his heart. Now, he also, just as we do, is insistent that we protect the innocent victims, and that's what this has been about. There'll be votes in the House this week to advance this and affirm what it's doing. That we want everybody in the House wants to go on record in affirming what our Oversight Committee is doing in a bipartisan fashion. There's a discharge petition that is pending, and the reason that I was not comfortable with that and still am not comfortable with the discharge petition is because it was inartfully drafted. It does not adequately protect the innocent victims, and that is a critical component of this. So the work is being done. The Department of Justice and the administration are in full compliance with every congressional subpoena. In fact, they're moving it quickly. And so the American people are owed this information, and the expectation is it will come out soon. So.
Can you clarify what exactly in the Massey and Connor discharge petition doesn't protect survivors?
Yeah, look, it was inartfully drafted, okay? They cite, for example, a code article that is supposedly to protect child sex acts, okay? These are legal term of arts, but they cite the wrong U.S. code provision, so it doesn't actually have any force of law. They don't actually have adequate protections for whistleblowers. We want to encourage whistleblowers in an investigation like this, and there are standards and practices and procedures that are used in federal prosecutions and investigations and here in Congress that are not adequately stated in the discharge petition. I think the petition itself is effectively a moot point now because all of this is happening. What the House Oversight Committee is doing, what they are actually gathering, is everything that was requested in the discharge petition, plus even more. And it actually has the force of subpoena, the effect and force of law, which is why it's actually happening right now, where the discharge petition does not lead to that. So it's not a lawmaking exercise. It's superfluous at this point, and I think we're achieving the desired end here. Yes, sir.
Speaker Johnson, Chair.
Well, we have a subpoena which must be supplied, enforced, and that does have the effect of law. So it's even more effective than a vote on the floor. I mean, we have subpoena authority, and it is being used aggressively here. And we promised to those victims that we would continue that. They are heartened, I think, by the attention that has been given in this Congress that has not been there for many years, obviously. And I would say this, and I don't want to overstate it, my friend Jamie Comer, but I would say Republicans and Democrats in the room were dumbfounded at some points about why some of this has not been disclosed further and in greater detail. And you have the right people on it now, and we're on it. It's overdue. Go ahead. Sorry.
And I also want to add, we've subpoenaed the estate, the Epstein estate, for everything too. So we're pushing forward.
When I say that the yes, the intention is to get them out for public release. And when I say that the Oversight Committee's work goes further than the discharge petition, that's a great example. The discharge petition doesn't mention subpoena or gathering information or documents from the Epstein estate. So there are other things that this committee, with its expertise and all of its lawyers and all the work, will be able to gather that wasn't even anticipated in this other pending measure. So,
what's the plan to avoid a government shutdown in 4 weeks? What's the plan?
Oh, you want to talk about that now? Okay. Look, we're working through the appropriations process. We have been in good faith. As you know, we passed a few of these bills off the floor already, and the Senate has done some work. They passed a few in a little minibus. We've got to get these two chambers together. Of course, we have the end of the fiscal year comes up, the end of this month, and no one desires a government shutdown. So we'll be working in earnest over the next few days and next couple of weeks to ensure that doesn't happen. Stay tuned for the details. As you know, everyone was out on the district work period, and now they've all just gathered, and so there'll be a tsunami of activity here for the next. We'll have some sleepless nights wrapping it all up and getting it done. But I'm very optimistic we can avoid a shutdown, and it's going to require leaders on both sides of the aisle to come together and do that. And I'm certainly hopeful that we can and do it in a responsible manner.
Mr. Speaker, there are some in your own party, Thomas Massey is one of them, who have said that by delaying a vote, resisting a floor vote on the Epstein documents, that you are protecting the president. What do you say?
Well, I think that's obvious nonsense. We are demonstrating here that this is being done, but I'm going to emphasize again, it has to be done in the right way. I spoke with the 6 brave women who were here about our intention on that, and they were so grateful. I think they will tell you themselves, those who are willing to come forward to speak publicly, that they will say they want to be very careful. Not all the victims. In fact, the vast majority of ladies and women and young women who are subjected to these unspeakable crimes, I mean unspeakable crimes, some of the things we heard today, have chosen not to come forward for obvious reasons. So we have to very carefully guard their identities. We cannot be haphazard about this. And that's the only thing that has had, if there's any delay at all, that's what the intention is. And I think you'll see that's the effect. The American people will get the information they've desired. Last question.
Yeah, Congressman Garcia says that you guys had subpoenaed that birthday book where President Trump allegedly wrote a note to Jeffrey Epstein. Is that something you guys are going to share with the public and expect to see soon?
I don't know about that particular item. I haven't seen a long list of specific.
That's in the
okay,
estate.
so,
We've subpoenaed for all documents pertaining to the estate.
And once you get it, will you release that to the
We
public?
plan on doing that.
yeah, you're going to see full
We always
disclosure,
do.
maximum transparency. That's Chairman Comer. That's what he does. Yes.
When you say justice delayed, does that mean you are seeking more action to get justice, or is that transparency, or does that mean you're seeking more prosecutions and other individuals?
I think we follow the truth where it leads. I think that's the responsibility of Congress. I think we owe that to the victims, and if there are further prosecutions, they need to be brought. No stone unturned. I mean, that's the commitment, and it's bipartisan, and I'm heartened that members of Congress are willing to work together on that. So, and look, I will say this again. I'm going to emphasize, this is full participation of the administration and the White House. The president has the same desire, so long as we're protecting the innocent victims. So there'll be a lot more on this in the coming days. So thank you all for the time. We appreciate it.
Mr. Comer, do you have a better timeline on releasing